Hello, this is Mount Limited back for another video. And Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
We're back. Oh, my mouse just died. Thankfully it hasn't. Not doing anything with you. My knowledge at least. I think Kim to invade the south. Send surplus equipment. The North Koreans are in a desperate need for infantry equipment, rifles, and other weapons. Our stockpile is large, and we will give them several thousand guns to support them their fight against the imperialists. Hurrah! Red Sparrow has been captured. This send you into take Langshi Yi. Finally, the thing fixed itself. So now that China has been fully taken over by the communists and Mao Zedong. Oh, the Mao. Safik Hussein will now become the leader of Turkey. You're making AKs, you're reaffirming your allegiance to us, you're doing propaganda stuff, you're doing getting more planes from us, you encourage industrialization, you're denouncing class enemies, you're embracing industrialization, you're getting an air force, you're protecting ethnic minorities still, and you're still expanding the anti-air defenses. The SR, Special Reconnaissance Operations, while some of our troops return home. Probably needed to use those to help the North Koreans, but still. Alright. Recognize the People's Republic of China. Happy that our brotherly communist Chinese forces have won their civil war, we will be the first to internationally recognize, even though that's technically not true, Burma has recognized them before, the new government of the People's Republic of China, and we will take back our recognition of the bourgeois imperialist Republic of China. They were trying to get an independent state against the Bevan stores of Japan. Possible NATO expansion. In a recent conference of NATO's leaders, discussion was held on expanding the organization to include more frontline states to the organization and strengthen the collective defense of free Europe. West Germany, Greece is not, and Turkey, well, just West Germany at this point, are all facing communist forces at its borders, and the risk of subversion in leaving the states on their own risks. Risk that overall could be compromise the position of NATO versus the Soviet Union. These states can be strengthened and protected with overt and covert Soviet threats. However, the proposal to offer the membership is being met by resistance. Some members are leery of including the West Germany so soon after the war. Others fear Greece and Turkey may end up being more of a liability due to their weaker economies and militaries. Greece and Turkey have both fallen already. Damn it. Oh, we're gonna get a lease of the Ionian Islands. That's gonna be good. You're doing nothing this way. And now you're buying Polish yaks. A strange thing to buy, but alright. This is probably a type of plane. And the rest are continuing their own thing. You're forming the National Front de DDR, or the National Front of the German Democratic Republic. There's a resistance in this occupied territory. The Mutual Security Plan. The Mutual Security Act has recently passed into Congress. It is the new foreign aid program to enable the United States to provide aid and grant and friendly states for support will help those states develop their capabilities for more firmly to able to resist communist influence. Unlike the earlier programs, this support will be limited to only just one region or state, and it will give the President greater flexibility and strengthen the State Department in its continued wage each diplomatic battles to secure American influence against full belligerent Soviet foreign policy. Interesting. I wonder where it's going to be used first. Yeah, we've got military access in China. Deal with the Chinese. Hopefully it will be a good one. Simeon Zayovko. get Eric's follow to do that. Command from ready. And go. So we've got new pressurization. Get hybrid propellant rockets. God knows what's happening there. The Vietnam are still holding strong in Vietnam. We've made a deal with the Chinese. Now let's establish the 64th Fighter Aviation Corps. The 64th Fighter Aviation Corps will be the special air squadron of volunteers in North Korea that will be enabled to combat Western jet aircraft in the skies. Hopefully this will help the North Koreans rather than just take Kaesong, take the entirety of Korea. As a fun fact, Korea goes all the way to, isn't just sent to Jeju Island. It's sent to, I think it's sent to not the Carolinas, Samoa. Yeah, sent all the way to Samoa. Anyway, send Soviet specialists to China. This will help them out. Besides, established People's Republic of China. And it's still not 1954, so it still can't get socialist Austria yet. So let time pass. I wonder what everyone else is doing. Well, in our faction at least. So Kurdistan is importing Soviet T-34s. Turkey is making the Turkish Workers' Liberation Navy. Greece is creating some gulags. Bulgaria is doing some heavy industrial investments. Albania is creating the People's Volunteer Guard. Yugoslavia is introduced annual planning. Romania is getting some pro-collectivist propaganda. Hungary is expanding home-owned state-owned housing industries. Austria doesn't exist yet. Czechoslovakia is purging communist officers. Poland is doing some modernization of the navy, and they're restoring the dismantled steel plants. Alright, let time pass. Okay. that worked. And all our spies have been saved, and we send them back into the US. See what they're planning next. They're Americans. What we do know is we're planning to put investments in possibly India, maybe Taipei. Can't do that, can't do that. Can possibly do that, but still. They haven't opened a CIA broadcast branch yet. Do that. Get that. Get that. Then offer China some loans with extreme interest. Can't wait till Korea invades and war starts. That's gonna be amazing. I wonder, can communist Malaysia actually exist? Because I don't actually see it, happen. Usually they get just killed. Like, damn. Prime Minister of Pakistan recently concluded an extensive state visit to the United States. The high-power trip saw the Prime Minister arrive with senior cabinet ministers during the trip. The Prime Ministers met their counterparts, while the Prime Minister held extensive talks with the President. The Prime Minister, also addressed Congress, informing them of the aspirations and earlier struggles of Pakistan. He toured major landmarks and the Pentagon. He emphasized his desire to see Pakistan armed to deal with the threat, especially communism. The visit ended with a glamorous state dinner. Before the Prime Minister left, he invited the American president to visit Pakistan soon. The American media was quite impressed. As with the Prime Minister, while the media in Pakistan noted the pride of the impressive protocol for their leader, the American president promoted the help and addressed the agricultural shortages facing Pakistan. Very good. Who should I get next? Oleg Nikolaevich. And offered the Sino-Soviet Treaty of Friendship, Alliance, and Mutual Assistance. In our actions to recognize the People's Republic of China and taking back the recognition of the Republic of China, we have signed a Treaty of Friendship, Alliance, for mutual assistance, providing more friendly diplomatic cooperation between Moscow and Peking, or Beijing nowadays called. It's also called that in the game, although a lot of people still call it Peking. So yeah, we've got modern landlines. To get basics to electronics and special reconnaissance operations. Time to get special forces improved skill training. Or that. What are allies doing? You are calling ethnic Turks home. You're purging Izmet Inanu. You're launching a political repression campaign. You're doing the deep battle theory. You're getting civil weaponry. You're suppressing the Kazan uprising. You're establishing the Organizatia Pionerilor. Is that wrong? Organizatia Pionerilor. Something like that. Then the Hungarians are making Soviet MiG-15s. The Czechoslovak Republic is empowered by SIB. I'm doing my own thing. The Polish People's Republic is finally back inventing the Yak-23. And the Germans are launching the Deutsches Rundfunk. It's the German something rather. I think it's broadcasting agency. Something like that. The Great Turkish Migration. The premiere of the KDR. I don't think it will be officially called the KDR, but it will be something similar to it. Ahmed Tawfiq has released a statement urging all people of Kurdish origin to migrate to the new Kurdish state. He expressed the end for manpower and technical expertise. Well, he expressed the need for manpower and technical expertise to propel the nation into the future. Tawfiq has promised employment, free housing, guaranteed clean food and water, and safety from imperialism and economic exploitation. Already Kurds from around the world have inspired and has left the lands of Iraq, Iran, and Syria in droves for their new homes. It is expected that the KDR's population will triple by the end of the year. Interesting. The Xenos signed over the treaty of friendship, alliance, and mutual assistance. Two global socialist giants have too much to gain in cooperation, and the treaty guarantees the alliance between China and the Soviet Union. The treaty ensures desperately that the Soviets desperately needed aid from the new Chinese regime. The port of Dalian and Bushun be returned to China. The Soviets have gained privileges in Xinjiang and Manchuria. Both states will benefit from the social world unite in partnership. Interesting. Recognize Vietnam's independence. Now that Vietnam was freed itself from the shackles clinging to French forces, we will recognize their independence and push their accession to the UN, even though technically they're still in war for independence and will be till 1955. Most likely. Okay. Yeah, the launch of the Deutsche Führungsfunk. The Deutsches Führungsfunk as or the official state television broadcaster, so yeah, the TV show, has just made its debut for a long time. Radio has been primary broadcast medium in East Germany. However, the early 50s, East television has been growing in popularity. DFF will bring high-quality entertainment and education to the masses. The programming available is as follows: Marxist education for children, daily news from the Spear, the weekly reports on the state affairs, comedy shows featuring popular figureheads, variety acts, knowledge-based game shows, the history program, and more coming soon. An interesting development. So before I start this up again, the Kurdish are now demanding repatriation from Iraq and Iran. Preparation for Iraq and Iran. You are still purging Ismet in on you. You're ignoring growing dissidents. It should be a pretty bad thing. Probably is. Bulgaria is still doing its theory. You're still doing Soviet weaponry. You're still suppressing the Kazan revolt. That's not what I pressed on. You're still doing that. You're still doing that. You're still doing that. You're still doing that. And now you have appointed Sepp Schwartz to the charge of the DFA. Alright, by time to move on. Sorry about that, I just stretched my eyes. Israel joins the United Nations, and many Arabs will be very annoyed about this. Today, the State of Israel has officially been introduced into the United Nations, despite decided upon in tense vote. The results in a 57-12 decision, sealing the fragile thing. You can get the that is the Jewish nation's independence. For now, at least, with Israel showing some degree of support for the UN's partition plan, is anyone's guess if peace will achieve, but no one else may believe that it is the first step in the series of many here as the Western world begins to establish ties and show their support for the state Israel's Arab neighbors. Neighbors are engaged, still reading from their previous failures to eliminate Israel. The revived Jewish state has now left its first referendum mark in history. Alexa, stop. So we've recognized Vietnam's independence. All that's done. So we signed a non-aggression pact, which we've already signed already. Alright. Guess I'll start this off for going. Purge the Leningrad dissenters. Now that we have evidence indicating the Leningrad communist guilt, we can strike and purge them in a series of trials. That will continue next time, and hopefully the Korean War will start then. So, hope to see you next time. Hope to see you then. This is Mountain Widget signing off. Have a good day. Goodbye.